What's up? What's up? Good morning. Good morning. How y'all doing this morning? Let's get right into it. First thing I want to say is, and also to remind you that God's grace is sufficient. These last couple of days, the devil, the enemy, has really been trying to attack me. I have been doing different projects that is really Christ centered, really trying to move the kingdom forward. Not only that, really focus on having a closer relationship with the Lord. And because of that, as we all know, the attacks increase. Getting closer to the Lord brings attacks. The enemy, the adversaries that the enemy sees you, because we also got to keep in mind that the devil is not God. He's not everywhere at all times. He doesn't know everything. So some of the attacks that we do have are demons, either lower demons or higher demons. As the Bible talks about, rulers, principalities, and things like that. So we got to keep that in mind. But as you get closer to the Lord, as you start to steer more into his plan and not into the bad habits that you were doing, that the attacks will increase. Are we covered by God? Always. Do we have God's protection? Always. But we have to see this as well as a war, as a battle for our souls. And in the battle, you will have to fight. In the battle, you will still get scars. In the battle, things will happen to you. You will get stabbed. You will get hurt. And we can't forget those things. And also, we cannot forget to tell people those things as they come to Christ. I feel like when it comes to the Christian life commercially, you really see a lot of everything is always going to be all right. You see a lot of God will protect you. God will keep you safe. And these things are 100% true. But at the same time, God will allow you to go through things for his purpose. The road is a narrow path. The gate is small, as the Bible talks about. The path that leads to destruction, the gate is big. The path is wide. And as we see that, so what does that mean if we talk about this? The path to the Lord is harder. Not many people walk on the path. It's smaller. The gate is also hidden. It's hard to find. And it's not hard to find because it's not there, it's not in the open. But we live in a world that sin, that debauchery, that immorality is seen more than love, peace, and kindness and those fruit. It's almost like if you would go to Times Square and you know all the billboards and all the lights, and you see all these things. And in the midst of that, there is a billboard for the Lord, but there's so many lights of sin, there's so many lights of debauchery, so many signs for these things that you just miss it. So is it hidden? Yes, but it's there. It's just hidden amongst the other stuff that the world has. So as you walk this walk, we have to keep that in mind, that the road we travel on is narrow, it is short. It has bumps in it. It might go through dips. It might go through valleys. Along this path, there might be storms. Since the road is narrow, at times it's hard to stay up on it. It's almost like beam walkers, if we look at it like that. Can you walk on a beam? Absolutely. But since the beam is narrow, you have to keep your balance. And what is that balance for us? That balance is the balance of living in this world, but not being of the world. And just like a walking beam, we have to control that balance. Because it's easy to fall off if you're not careful, or it's easy to take your eye off the end, or it's easy to say forget your balance, or not practice your balance. So we have to balance living in this world, but not being of this world. And that's what the Bible talks about when it said the path is narrow. And then we look at the Bible where it talks about as the path is narrow, that's the path that leads to life. But the path that leads to destruction is wide. It's huge. The gate can be seen. This path is wide. Because of this path that has a lot of people on it, because it's a wide path. As you travel through life, which path would you rather take? And let's look at this as we're traveling in a physical path. The narrow path or the wide path? You would take the wide path if you saw it. And you would see the wide path has more people, right? So that wide path will have people you can talk to, unlike the narrow path, who not many travel on. So we also have to be careful as we see things in life, as we see which ways to go. The decisions that we make, what does that path look like? Is it a wide path? It's a gate just out there. That might not be the path we need. So we need to look in our lives for narrow paths, a path less traveled. But usually those paths, those harder paths, they lead to life. First, they lead to life through Jesus Christ. They lead to life through at the end of our journey in our physical bodies. They lead us to heaven, but also the path that is harder usually has the bigger reward. It's kind of like disciplining yourself, right? So it's hard to get up in the morning, go work out. It's hard to go to the grocery store instead of going to McDonald's and eat out. These are the narrow and the harder paths. But in life, they benefit the greatest reward. Other than the wide path, it benefits for the moment, but at the end, it doesn't give you the results that you require and that you need. And that's how we have to look at our life when it comes to following Jesus. And all the decisions that we make, what does the path look like? I don't know where I went with that, but I liked it. I liked it. Because I'll start off with your grace is sufficient. And his grace is sufficient. But as his grace is sufficient, we have a duty within ourselves to make sure that we don't stretch or bend or break that grace. Because he is also long-suffering, but he will not be mocked. And so as we go on these narrow paths, as they get hard, as we dip in valleys, as we go through hills, as we walk on rocks, as we walk on uneven ground through these paths, we have to remember that his grace is sufficient and that he will never leave us and never forsake us. And these are the things I'm trying to remind myself every day. His grace is sufficient. He'll never leave us. He'll never forsake us. The blood that he shed on Calvary is enough for every sin that we commit, every hardship that we endure. His death on the cross is not in vain, and we as Christians should not make that death in vain by living a life that's not in path with Jesus. And we got to remember these things as we remember his grace is sufficient. So yeah, I was attacked a lot, and I know I'm going to continue to be attacked. And we have to see that as part of the walk. Being attacked, hardship, things happen in our lives is not only a part of life in general. Things are going to happen. There's nothing we can do because of the world we live in. But also on the Christian life, things are going to happen. And we have to keep in mind that that is part of the walk. And God can use that as part of our purpose. One, also to strengthen us in our walk, but two, to use it to help others. So as you go through this walk, as you go through that narrow path, as you find smaller gates, remember that his grace is sufficient, and that he loves you, that he will never leave you and never forsake you. And because of that, we will not take his grace in vain. We will not mock what he did on the cross. And I will keep that in mind too as I walk this walk. So I pray today that as you walk this walk, that you will be reminded of the things that God promised us. And then you will hold those things in your heart. You will carry those things in your mind, and they will always be upon your soul. I thank you for listening. I'll see you next time. Peace.